playing the best music to Inland Andalusia. This is Ace FM.
Malden District's true local radio, Saint FM 94.7.
The weather on Ace FM is brought to you by Country Car Hire.
Another lovely day out there, been a little bit cooler than of late there. 30 degrees maximum there, winds northeasterly at 9 miles per hour. The humidity is 45 degrees and the sunset tonight is 9:38. Now Tuesday will be your warmest day with temperatures reaching 35 degrees Celsius, and that's on the coast.
The weather on Ace FM is brought to you by Country Car Hire, your local supplier of quality cars for short or long-term hire. For further details, call 951 773342 or email countrycarhire@gmail.com. Mention Ace FM when you call and receive a 10% discount off your total price. Country Car Hire, 951 773342.
Saint FM weather is sponsored by the Computer Centre, the Dengies' premier IT retailer. Find us at 106 Station Road, Burnham-on-Crouch. The Computer Centre for all your computer needs.
Well, it's a bit overcast at the moment. There's a slight chance of some showers around. However, dry by the afternoon with increasing amounts of sunshine. Still feeling warm, but not as warm as late there. Moderate west to southwesterly winds. Maximum temperatures across the Malden district today, 29 degrees Celsius. And now tonight, it'll be dry at first with some good clear spells, but becoming cloudy later with perhaps showery rain spreading in from the southwest. Perhaps heavy and thundery in places. Minimum temperatures tonight much cooler than of late. Thank God for that as well, 13 degrees Celsius. Outlook for Monday, rather cloudy at first with outbreaks of rain which may be heavy and thundery at times. The rain turning much more showery throughout the afternoon. Be a lot cooler than of late, and it'll be like a typical UK summer. Back to normal, rain, 18 degrees Celsius.
The Sunday Brunch with Nigel Waymark.
Malden District's true local radio station, Saint FM 94.7 and 106.8. It's the music that counts for Inland Andalusia. Ace FM, good afternoon. Welcome along. It's Nigel Waymark with the Sunday Brunch, sponsored by Costa Free Ads. Welcome back to the second hour there. And that's Sammy Davis Jr. and a little track called Sammy Swings Again. All sort of his hits like the Gingerbread Man and all those kind of sort of things there. And I was playing that to Tracy during the week. And I played it once or twice in the car and I've got away with it. But if I play it probably a third time, I'm probably going to be in a lot of trouble. My guest this hour is Sue Cook from Fit4Reading.co.uk. I'm going to ask you just to pull up that green. Which mic do you want to go? Orange or green? Green? Oh, go on. Yeah, go green. Pull it up a little bit to you and then I'll fade you in there. Hello, Sue.
Hi.
That's all right. We've been busy talking because we're friends and we've been catching up on what we've been doing over sort of the last... We haven't seen each other since about last summer, have we?
Yeah, it was the Malden Regatta in September, yes.
Good grief, was it that long ago? Dear, oh dear. How have you been? Have you been keeping yourself fit and well?
Yes, very fit, very well, thank you.
And you've been losing a little bit of weight on a personal... You've been telling me you've been losing...
Nearly a stone.
Oh, well done.
Quite chuffed.
Well done. Right, now, the reason why you're here is we've had you on before and we had such a lot of good fun. We're going to talk to you about your website, Fit4Reading.co.uk, and about your work that you go on dealing with ADHD, dyslexia...
Yep, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, Asperger's, dyscalculia, and some autism as well. The programme works for autism as well.
Good grief.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a lot to get in. How did you personally get involved in it?
Well, my son was diagnosed with dyslexia and possible social communication disorder, and I didn't know what that was, so I Googled it, and I discovered it meant neurodevelopmental delay, and I didn't know what that meant either, so I Googled that, and eventually... after lots and lots of searching, found something to help neurodevelopmental delay. Basically, it means that there's been a break in or damage to the natural development of the brain due to possibly a fever or some other thing that has created problems with the development of the senses, so the vision or the hearing or the balance or the coordination. And that results in these labels that we have of dyslexia, dyspraxia and so on. So I found a treatment and I started my son on it. And it was so remarkable. Within 3 days, my son, who couldn't track at all, could track, which means he could keep his head still and move his eyes independently.
Right, okay.
Of course, if you can't track, you can't read. If you can't track, you can't catch a ball. You probably wouldn't be very good at crossing a road. So it has a big impact.
So this was the first thing. How old was your son?
He was 6 then, and within the first week he learnt to swim as well, because the programme enabled his cross crawl to start working. For example, right hand, left foot, left hand, right foot. So that enabled him to swim. Before there was no coordination.
So just a simple thing like tracking, like you following a finger, which you and I would take for granted, is a difficult thing.
Yes.
And you.
Most of the children I see can't track at all. Some of them can track a bit. Some of them can track a little bit sideways, but can't track up and down. So we find out all about that. And then I show their parents how to help them do that. Everything I test for, I know how to help.
Gee whiz, that's quite... Because it's received more prominence a little bit lately, because Henry Winkler, I suppose, I don't want to use the expression, but has come out, hasn't he? He said he suffers from...
He's dyslexic, and he's written a really lovely series of books, which quite a few of my patients read, and they come and they tell me all about them, though I haven't read them yet, but I would love to.
I must admit, I did hear him. He was a guest on TV, I think, or something like that, and he came out. And it was very interesting. All the time he was... the Fonz, he had this problem that he couldn't read. I think it's much more. I've got to be honest. I was talking to someone about it who I know is dyslexic, and they recently had a dyslexic. I'm teeth in on this one. A dyslexic test, which actually was run by the county council. I think the county had, and it cost £600.
Yeah, that's usually an EdPsych report. Perhaps they're the people who are qualified to diagnose these things.
Right.
My son had one of those as well.
Great. And as a result, the person who had this was obviously found out about this or was realised about this quite late. They're a tutor. And they realised that they're dyslexic. And they recently started an exam and they were allowed an extra 15 minutes for it all. So is it now that we're only starting to come to terms with this? So the question would be there must be plenty of people, 30, 40, 50, who think they're thick, Well,
sadly, our prisons are full of people who have learning difficulties. So I'm told, most of the prison population are either dyslexic, dyspraxic, have ADHD or Asperger's, and I think it's a dreadful shame. And if I can help some people avoid going to jail later because they've got problems with their neural wiring, then what a great motivation.
All right, that's a good point to take a break. The neural wiring, we'll come back and talk about how you basically do that there. It's the Sunday Brunch Show with Nigel Waymart, sponsored by Costa-Free Ads. My guest today is Sue Cook from Fit4Reading.co.uk. We're talking about neuro wiring.
Neurodevelopmental delay. Yes, we can talk about neuro
All right, we'll talk about that. It's a complicated subject, but we've got something a little bit later on where you can find out which is the prominent side of your brain. Keep it locked here, Malden. Keep it locked here, Southern Spain. It's the music that counts across 106.8 in Andalusia with Ace FM, and also on 94.7 across East Essex. It's Saint FM. Good afternoon to you. It's the Sunday Brunch with Nigel Waymart, sponsored by Costa-Free Ads. My guest this hour is Sue Cook from Fit4Reading.co.uk. Something we were talking about, Sue, while that piece of music on, it is desperate that we talk about, is how do you spot someone who might have problems? I don't want to use the word problem.
Well, in a preschool child,
right? Okay.
The likely things you might see is a child who's very late walking, or late talking, or they have missed stages such as they don't roll over, or they don't crawl, or they're a bottom shuffler.
Yes.
Okay. Now, my son, I think I knew when he was born pretty much that he was different. He was much more lively than other children. At 3 months old, he could wiggle across the floor on his back. At 8 months old, he would be walking for 2 hours a day behind a baby walker. By a year and a half, he was walking from 9 till 5. He just never sat still, never ever learnt to do any of that, sitting down, holding a pencil, drawing, never ever did that. So when he went to school, he couldn't do it. So he was kind of atypical in those ways.
So they're the kind of things...
Yeah, that's before school. And then once you start school, things that your teacher will probably tell you, or that you might notice when you try and do things with your child, is poor handwriting, like really poor, clumsiness, daydreaming, a very short attention span, My son had attention span that was non-existent, but then it was down to his visual problems. He had Erlen syndrome. He needs coloured glasses, so he couldn't even look at white paper. So you can confuse this symptom with something else. You can think they can't concentrate, but actually he just couldn't look at white paper.
So to get around that, he would obviously use different coloured paper or glasses.
Yeah, or he wears he's got special glasses which are really dark. I have Erlen syndrome as well, so I know that he's not making it up. I can't look at yellow paper with black writing without getting an instant headache.
Good grief.
So, but I managed to get through school because there was never any yellow paper. Whereas my son, it's white paper, so of course everything's white, and he suffers far more than I did. I didn't find out that I'd got Erlen syndrome until I was, a few years ago.
Good.
Yeah,
and
other symptoms. So
and you were saying you were
I'm dyscalculia, yeah. I have a problem processing numbers. And to put that into perspective, what's happening in the brain, to add, for example, two numbers together takes the information to change from one hemisphere to the other 9 times. So if your short-term memory isn't very good, then because there's not enough, say, nerve pathways across the corpus callosum, then the information just falls off a cliff. So you can't manipulate numbers. It's very frustrating.
So adding 2 numbers again is a different...
I can do it now. I can add 2 numbers now, but if I look up a number in the yellow pages, say it's a 4-digit number, I'll remember the first number, transpose the next 2, and forget the last one. But the way, which is really annoying, so it takes me ages to find the page. The way I've got around that is to say the number out loud, then it goes into my hearing, into my brain that way, and then I can easily remember it. Which isn't a cure, it's a coping strategy.
I'm with you. I'm with you how it works.
But other symptoms, do you want me to tell you other symptoms?
Yeah, go on. Yes, sorry. I pressed the button to go to a break, but it doesn't matter. Go on. Can you tell us? Go on.
Rubbing the eyes while looking at paper, or squinting, blinking, poor hand-eye coordination, holding the book very close, omitting small words, using the finger as a guide while reading, reversing or transposing words. And then one of the biggest things is a big difference between their clear intelligence from speaking to them and what they can produce for you on paper. That's a big giveaway.
I'm with you, yes.
Yeah, to learning difficulties. And not progressing.
Right.
So those are the things a teacher would see.
So that's the symptoms.
Yeah, a lot of them. Some of them.
Some of them.
It's huge.
We're up against time now. We're starting to worry about time. So what we'll do is we'll take the break, and then we'll start to talk about coping strategies, I suppose.
Well, it's not coping strategies, it's what to do with it. Yeah, rewiring bits of the brain that need rewiring.
Right, okay. All right, we'll do that then. We'll take the break now then. When we come back, we've got the classic from Beverly Knight. You're tuned to 106.8 across Inland Andalusia. This is Ace FM. And across East Essex on 94.7, this is Saint FM. Good afternoon, it's Nigel Waymark with the Sunday Brunch, sponsored by CostaFreeAds.com.
Radio for Inland Andalusia. This is Ace FM.
For Latchington, Telsbury and Southminster. For Malden, Bradwell-on-Sea and Wickham Bishops. Malden District's true local radio. Saint FM 94.7.
Do you know that this is the worst thing, Sue, that you and I talk at the back across these records. We lose ourselves here, don't we? It's Saint FM 94.7 across East Essex and across Inland Andalusia. It's 106.8 Ace FM. Nigel Waymark with you with the Sunday Brunch Show, sponsored by CostaFreeAds.com. My guest this hour is Sue Cook, who runs a website called Fit4Reading.co.uk. Now, we're going to, in a few minutes, Sue, we're going to talk about, we're going to do this test, aren't we, to find out which side of your brain is...
Test your hemispheric dominance.
Your, what was that?
Hemispheric dominance. Which side of your brain is the boss?
Right, okay. Right, that's what it means. So all we need to do to set this up, if people want to do this at home, all they need to do is basically do what we're doing, sit opposite each other.
I use a kitchen roll holder and a ball as props, but you can
pretend, can't you?
that if you're doing it with the grown-up, you don't need any props, really, just pretend.
Right, so we can find out find out this. Had a person come in here who says they obviously there's a lot of adults who have found out in later life that they've got problems here. Now, some of this means more to you than it does to me there. The way they diagnose mine is the 20 points difference between verbal IQ and visual IQ.
Yeah.
Does that make... What's that?
Yeah, so he knows things that when he's talking that he can't necessarily prove in other ways. I'm with you there.
Yeah. And this person
By
also
writing.
says they also have problems with phonic... Is it phonic decoding or phonic decoding?
Yeah.
What was phonic decoding?
It's the sounds of words.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
That's a real tricky one for dyslexic people.
Right, so we found out what the problem is, what ways to look about children and the problems they could have. So we'll now start talking about how you deal with these.
Yeah. Well, I do a screening when they come, very gentle screening, and their parents are present, so that I can show the parents by the results the child has. And it's quite obvious what they should be doing and what they're not doing. So I explain to the parents usually at the time, oh yeah, that's because this part of the brain is, the issue.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously if it's inappropriate, I wouldn't say it in front of the child. You have to be careful.
Yeah.
It just depends. And then once we've done the screening and we know what needs to be looked at,
mm-hmm.
then I demonstrate an exercise program, because the brain learns by movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you were kept immobilised from birth, you'd never develop your vision or your hearing or the ability to walk. So the brain learns by movement. Remember when you learnt to drive first, it was very difficult.
Yeah.
And then gradually you were wiring your brain. And when you learn karate or when you learn dance steps, you're teaching your brain. We learn by doing. So
Right.
in children or people, because I can treat people of any age really, they don't have to be a child. If they've got neurodevelopment issues, doing the program is a movement-based program, and we go back over the stages that were broken or damaged or missed, and we put the pathways in that should have been there for them to function normally.
I'm with you.
If we can use the word normally. It's like knowledgeable intervention.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say. Probably the worst word to use is normal.
Normal,
isn't it?
yeah. Don't
Because
use that
everybody's
word, really.
different anyway.
Yeah,
aren't
there
they?
is no normal, but typical I think would be better. In a child who doesn't have these problems, they would naturally have gone through certain stages that the people who need to see me have missed. So, and I'm dyscalculic. Did I already tell you that?
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah.
You've got
So-
memory problems as
Yeah.
well.
I can't remember whether we talked about that or not.
We did, yeah. At least it proves to me. Now, in a few, what we're going to do, obviously, if people would like to talk to you about that, obviously they'll need to contact you, because obviously probably the best way is to contact you initially by email, is it?
Yeah, they can contact me at sue@helpingadhd.com or sue@Fit4Reading, the 4 being a number 4.co.uk.
Give them again, please, slowly.
Fit4Reading.co.uk.
That's Sue at.
And sue@helpingadhd.com.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
that's just like the first instant there,
Yeah.
and then you can find out there. And there's two programs you do. You can either do one-to-one.
Yeah, people
With
can
them.
come as a private patient and I'll see them myself.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've written the programme down, so if they live too far away, they can order it from my website and do it at home, which works well. I've got patients all over the world, so
Good grief.
it's doing well.
Well done. All right, okay, let's have another piece of music, and then we're going to do this testing, screening, finding out which is the, what did you call
Which
it?
side of your brain is the boss? A hemispheric dominance test.
Actually, I'm never going to say that in a month of Sundays. I know I'm not. 22 minutes to 1 o'clock across the UK, 22 minutes to 2 o'clock across the continent. This is 106.8 Ace FM and 94.7 Saint FM. Good afternoon. It's Nigel Waymark with the Sunday Brunch Show, sponsored by Costa Free Ads. And here's Earth, Wind and Fire. Play this one for Dave. Sunday Brunch with Nigel Waymark on Malden District's true local radio station, Saint FM 94.7, and also across Eland and Andalusia on 106.8 Ace FM. It's the Sunday Brunch Show, sponsored by Costa Free Ads. There, Nigel Waymark with you through till 2 o'clock in the UK and 3 o'clock on Le Continent, as they say, all words to that effect there. My guest today is Sue Cook from Fit4Reading.co.uk. Now, in a few minutes, we're going to do this test again to test your dominant side of your brain. Now, we need to set this up. You can do this at home. There's no need to... all you need to do is sit opposite your partner or your friend or whatever, isn't it? That's all you need to do.
Just about, yeah.
Just about. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, so shall we do this live on the air now?
Okay.
Now, basically, you can stand up, but it's best.
Well, it
it's
just
better.
depends on the thing. If I'm doing it with children, they're usually standing up, but you'll see why. Yeah.
Right, okay then. So, what you've got to do then, we're going to do the test now, and then we'll obviously tell you what the results are. Sue's going to do it on me now. We've done this before, so I know what to expect there. Right, Sue, talk us through it
Okay,
then.
so write your name in the air with your foot for me, please.
Sorry, say again.
Write your name in the air with your foot.
Right name in the air with the foot.
And which foot are you using?
Left.
Oh, okay, so you've got a dominant left foot.
Right.
Okay, I'm just going to throw you a pretend ball,
Yep.
catch it, throw it back to me.
Oh.
Okay, and I'll just do it a couple of times. You're
Yep.
supposed to do everything 3 times, really. And you're definitely using your left hand.
I'm a left-handed
So
person
he is
for
left-handed.
throwing balls and for writing my name with my foot.
And write your name. Do you write your name with your...
Write my name,
with
yep.
your left hand again.
Yep.
That's good. And I'm going to hand you a fictitious telescope.
I am tempted here because I've done this before, but I am tempted because the way we're sitting with the microphone here, I could lean and get it with my right hand. But I've got this fictitious telescope now.
Yeah, look through it.
Look through it, okay?
Okay, and Nigel is using his right eye, so his dominant right eye, and we know that from last time.
That's right.
So he has a bit of mixed dominance there. And this time, hold the telescope out with straight.
Hold
with
it straight.
Arm. Yeah,
Yep.
look through it.
Look through it,
and
yeah.
with a straight arm, and look at something in the distance. And then gradually bring the telescope up to your eye. Okay. Now,
Okay.
Nigel is still using his right eye. Sometimes I see children put the telescope to the centre. That means they've probably got double vision, or it
I'm with
crosses
you.
over. So it's not always... They might have a dominant left eye for close-up things and a dominant right eye for distance things.
Right.
And I'm going to hand you a telephone now. It's for you.
A telephone is for me.
Yeah,
I am
so
tempted.
answer
I
it.
would answer it with my left hand. Because of the way we're set up, and it would be easier for me to lean across because the microphones,
Yeah.
I'm slightly sitting to the right of
So
the microphone. But
answer it.
I pick up the phone, yeah, I'll answer it. Hello.
With his left ear, so he's
using
his
my
left
left
ear
ear.
dominant.
Yep.
Now Nigel's scored pretty much the same as I do. I'm very, very left dominant, but I'm left-eyed, so I'm a very, very left dominant person, and I have a dominant right hemisphere. Nigel has a dominant right hemisphere, though he has a dominant right eye. So
Right.
yeah, there's a very good book by Carla Hannaford, which is called... There's one called Right Moves, and the other one's The Dominance Factor, which explains about these hemispheric dominance things. Quite interesting.
Right. So does that mean I'm normal? Is there such a
everyone's
thing?
normal. Yeah, it just means that you're mostly left, but you have a dominant right eye. So that would cause you difficulty if you were to go shooting with clay pigeon shooting
Yeah,
or something.
I would shooting. I would.
That would be awkward for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also the other thing is that obviously where we are in the studio, we've got microphones in the way. So because I'm slightly sitting to the left, to my right of the microphone, obviously, so I can see you.
Yeah.
I would be tempted because it's easier for me to move my right instead of my left, because if I move my left, I could hit the microphone.
Yeah.
So, but that's a good thing. So things you would be looking out for then, if you were practicing on that on a child, if they, like with the telescope, if they moved looked through the telescope a long way away and then moved it close to you, and instead of hitting or going towards their eye, they went to the centre.
Yeah, that's I found that in people who have double vision. And I found that in somebody who'd never even told anyone he had double vision because he didn't know. Because
No, I suppose
people assume their own symptoms are normal, and they don't know that that's you're not meant to see like that. And he didn't know which image he was meant to be looking at, so he went to the middle.
Okay,
Very interesting.
We come back and do some more on this, Sue. If you'd like to find out further details, let me give you Sue's website, which is all the W's, fit4reading.co.uk. That's Fit4Reading. Now, fit is FIT, then 4 is the digit 4, and then reading is READING. Not fit for Reading, by the way, as someone tried to make a little joke for you. Dear, we'll leave that one right there. Right, okay, we've got one more little bit we're going to do with Sue there and find out a little bit more about some of this treatments that you can have there. We'll take the break now. When we come back, though, we're going to be reliving our youth. We are going to be reliving our youth. We're going to go back and have a classic by Donny Osmond. Well, not a classic, actually, a record made famous by George Benson. You can hear the vocal version of it in just a few seconds' time. Saint FM 94.7 across East Essex and 106.8 Ace FM. In music for Inland in Andalusia. It's Nigel Waymark with the Sunday Brunch, sponsored by CostaFreeAds.com.
For Latchington, Telsbury and Southminster. For Malden, Bradwell-on-Sea and Wickham Bishops. Malden District's true local radio. Saint FM 94.7.
Summertime.
106.8 Ace FM.
Saint FM 94.7 and 106.8 Ace FM. And good afternoon, it's Nigel Waymark with the Sunday Brunch Show, sponsored by CostaFreeAds.com. My guest in this hour has been Sue Cook from Fit4Reading.co.uk. I've got one more session for her. Here's one for you, Sue. Confucius wrote, "You hear and you forget, you see and you remember, you do and you understand."
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yes,
Very good.
Right, belief system then, Sue. This is what we want to talk about now.
Yes. When my son was diagnosed with dyslexia, my father, who is a dyslexia teacher, told me that, he said to me, and I quote, he said, "Sue, there is no cure, you have to learn to live with it," because that's what he'd been taught.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not one to believe that there are no answers, so that's why I went looking for answers, and I found amazing answers, and I've helped my son now, and I've helped lots of other children improve and things. And belief systems are important, because if you believe that drugs are the answer, say your child has ADHD and you want to go and put them on a drug, then that's what you'll do. If you believe that there's no cure, then you won't go looking for help. If you believe that there are answers, you just have to find them, then you'll be like me and you'll go and look. But to back up what I'm saying, in the last 20 years or so, there's been an explosion of research in neuroscience, which absolutely does back up what I'm saying. For example, Rita Levi-Montalcini won a Nobel Prize several decades ago for her work with nerve growth factors. Eric Kandel, ditto. And then there's a Professor Susan Barry, who was a neuroscientist lecturing in a university, and she was telling her students that she was born with cross eyes. She was telling her students that there's no way she could ever acquire 3D vision because her brain couldn't change. And then in her 50s, she met a behavioural optometrist who taught her how to gain 3D vision, so she wrote a book. It's amazing. That's just some examples of some quite high-profile stuff. But on my website, on the blog on my website, I've written a list of research and references where you can go and have a look at some of the research that does show that a motor program does benefit children with learning difficulties, because it does. I've seen it with my own eyes, and my father is now one of my biggest fans. So
Good
he's changed his mind.
Good for Dad, he should be as well. Okay, so I think the thing you're saying there is believe. I mean, we've talked about this so many times for the Sunday Brunch Show, about having belief in yourself and having belief that the person can change, the child or whatever, you can help them.
Yeah,
yes?
it's having an open mind.
Yeah.
And it's saying, okay, there's a problem, let's deal with it, not let's just pretend there's nothing that we can do and just suffer. So
it's been an absolute pleasure. You will come on again soon, won't you?
I'd be honoured.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in today. Let's give your website one more plug. First of all, it's all the W's, fit4reading.com. That's fit...
.co.uk.
Yeah, fit4reading.co.uk. Sorry. FIT, and then it's the digit 4, and then reading.co.uk. And if you want to find out any further information, then contact Sue at fit4reading.co.uk. I'll put it up on my Sunday Brunch blog as well for you.
Thank you very much, Nigel. I've had a lovely time.
Pleasure. It's been a really good day. Thank you very much, Sue, for coming in and talking to us there. Sunday Brunch Show with Nigel Waymark. We're going up to the news now. In the next hour, we have got the Hit Back Hour with Costa Free Ads, where we're looking back at the summer of July 1983. What a good summer it was. But next, here's the news. But to take us up here, here's the Summer Sizzler, number 1. This is Toby Mountain, and this is called Sunshine Rainfall. News